Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Goblin Slayer TRPG. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this tabletop RPG based on the popular fantasy series, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the other species, starting with the Harpies. Harpies are a type of padfoot. The name refers to those with more bird-like traits than other padfoots. They may have several arms with wings or have wings sprouting from their backs or waist. They have large eyes that can see great distances, as well as sharp noses and lips, vestiges of beaks. Humans consider many harpies, male or female, as quite beautiful. Many harpies are single-minded and become obsessed when they fall in love. Apparently, human etiquette is rather similar to the harpy courting process. Thus, no small sum of harpies have left their villages because of love for a human. Lizardmen apparently look beautiful to harpies, and they will regularly grow close to them. A harpy's fate after leaving home is not very different from that of other padfoots. Those who elect to be adventurers prefer working as scouts or shamans, perhaps for their link to songs and words. Harpies reach adulthood at 10 and live for close to 50 years. Romance and love are paramount to harpies. Harpies are also very sensitive when it comes to their own physical territory and emotional space. Next we have the Myrmidons. Myrmidons are a type of padfoot. The name refers to those with many more insect-like traits than other padfoots. The first warriors created by the gods for their war games, these were the first Myrmidons, and they were said to be ant people. That said, Myrmidons aren't attached to what others call them. Like most padfoots, their appearance varies greatly from tribe to tribe. Some have wings, others might have antennae, etc. Their lifestyles are also similar to those of other padfoots who live in hills and fields with their tribes. At first, Myrmidon society may seem better than human society. However, there is one absolute thing they lack. They do not respect the lives of individuals. If humans are a species that will keep on changing, Myrmidons are a species that strive to maintain the status quo. Myrmidons find lizardmen mystifying, for lizardmen greatly value their survival as individuals, while Myrmidons, of course, treat the survival of the whole as good and virtuous. On the opposite side, lizardmen have called the Myrmidons' willingness to sacrifice themselves incomprehensible. This ideology makes Myrmidon adventurers fearless, persistent fighters and scouts. Myrmidons have no use for concepts like adulthood and lifespan. To repeat, Myrmidons are not attached to their own lives. Certain tribes see their differences with other species as an issue. Then we have the Dark Elves. Dark Elves are the Dark Dwellers. Similar to elves in form, their skin is a different color, usually brown or pale blue, enabling them to blend in well with the shadows. If they are called Dark Elves, that means they were made after elves. Mentioning as much with Dark Elves is forbidden. The racial characteristics of Dark Elves are much the same as elves. However, they tend to be colder, crueler, and more logical. Dark Elves are also said to enjoy kidnapping people and tormenting the guiltless. Dark Elves possess characteristics more inclined towards chaos. This, however, does not mean Dark Elves won't form friendships. Their lifespans and the age at which they reach adulthood aren't too different from those of elves. A particularly valuable strength that sets them apart from their forest-dwelling cousins is that they comprehend the ins and outs of monetary economies. If you were to ask a Dark Elf, they would say it is much more beautiful underground than in the forest. Then we have demons. Demons are essentially evil versions of gods. However, the question of whether they are actually gods is presently unanswered. It is said their home lane is the territory of chaos, a world worthy of being called the demon world. On the other hand, There are some who have created a pact with witches or sorcerers who will respond to being summoned. Demons can be broadly divided into 4 categories: lesser demons, greater demons, archdemons, and demon lords. This species also includes the succubi, as they are called colloquially, though males are called incubi. They approach people through dreams. Most other demons operate in the real world, brandishing their strength as they please. The appearance of a demon lord is a planar catastrophe that affects the course of the entire world. Then we have the vampires. The most famous kind of undead has to be the vampire. In fact, it's said the term undead was first used to refer to them. Vampires attack people, seduce them, drink their blood, and turn them into their own. However, vampires have many vulnerabilities. For example, they hate sunlight, sacred silver, divine miracles, and certain other things. Be that as it may, vampires are immortal, extremely intelligent, and very powerful. And individual differences among vampires are extremely pronounced. Like demons, vampires are split into 4 groups: lesser vampires, greater vampires, arch-vampires, and undead kings. As for undead kings, it is rumored that one appeared in the capital about 10 years ago. Vampires only seek blood to keep themselves alive. They live in secret, concealing their identities. The issue is whether evil vampires also involve themselves in different activities concerning the other species. Occasionally, there will be a vampire pretending to be a member of the clergy or a hunter. Though it goes without saying, the living are nothing more than food for vampires. People typically become desperate to protect a relative who has turned into a vampire. Ultimately, the foolish person's community becomes a feeding ground. There are also vampires, or half-vampires, that may become vampire destroyers. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about the gods. I really like some of the characteristics and the quirks of this species. For example, why are harpies considered so beautiful? I have noticed this is some sort of staple or usual thing in anime and manga. They usually paint harpies as very beautiful. Now, when it comes to the lizardmen, I don't know why a couple of species, the Harpies and the Myrmidons, find them quite mystifying, fascinating, beautiful, very strange. When it comes to the Myrmidons, I think they are, perhaps with the lizardmen, my other favorite species. It's too bad that they weren't included when it comes to stats and their powers in this core book. As I understand it, they appear in the expansion. Concerning the vampires, yes, they are pretty stereotypical. I would say they are the more common species when compared to other species here. Demons are also somewhat stereotypical, although both vampires and demons, they have great importance when it comes to what they affect in the world through their machinations and their wanton destruction. And dark elves are also typically cruel, but like it said there, they can form friendships, so perhaps you can become the friend of a dark elf and you could get him or her into your adventurer party. Who knows? Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.